Okay, guys, so Mark Nicholas is the founder of daytradingzones.com, has been trading for over 2 decades and has been mentoring students for 10 years now. Mark got his start as a trader for JP Capital, has developed his own proprietary trading tools, called the probability tools, which provides decision trading, which are decision trading tools for institutions and retail traders. So just gonna okay, there's Mark. And let me just unmute Mark. Mark, are you there?
Yes.
Hey, how are you?
Good afternoon, everyone. Quick sound test. 1, 2, 3. Can everybody hear me? Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Kim, Salva, Sherry, Michael. Thanks, everyone. So good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Mark Nicholas. I'm the founder of the Day Trading Zones. I've been a trader just like you for the past 20 years. I started in the professional circuit in prop shop and hedge funds. I'm going to try to share with you today how to master weekly and monthly income by mastering support and resistance for high probability trades in any market. The Day Trading Zones is a company that provides analysis and research for institutions and the retail side of the trading industry. And I'm going to share with you real experience, real trades that I've made for the past 20 years. Before we start the presentation, I want to show you one trade that I made when I was in vacation in Thanksgiving. It's called the Apple case study. So this is my iPhone. I did this trade from my iPhone before leaving vacation for about a week with my family. And this is a trade where I took 7 contracts of the 525 calls in December for Apple at 485, and this stock went to $30. The entire P&L for that trade was about $23,000. And one of the trade here, which I'll show you on the second screenshot, there was a video that we sent to our members called an action video when I came back. So you can see the date at the top, the time 11:28. I was out of the cruise. I was in a cruise. And when I came back on my trading desk, that's the Thinkorswim platform. Let me show you. I was starting to unload my position. So you can see my position being unloaded here in the morning from 10 a.m. to 12 that day, which is November the 29th. And you see that those trades were made with a very little account. I invested in that trade less than $9,000. And those 7 positions on the 525, see, there was one contract left here at 480, went all the way to 32. So the reason I'm showing you this, everyone, is I understand that everybody in the trading industry is skeptical when you come in webinars like this. How many of you come and listen to PowerPoint and feel that there's a total BS being told to you? You know, anybody? Each time you come to a trading webinar and you listen to people, how many of you comes and they say, there's a lot of stuff here that just doesn't resonate with you? And so I think it's very important that you guys see from the traders that came this morning that are real traders trading real money, like Steve, like Rob, like Barry later on. You got to understand that people have to show you what they do and put their money where their mouth is, that they do real trades. Because we're on a time right now where the concept that have to be shared with you, they got to be stuff that people are doing with real money. Do I have bad trades? Sure. Do I have bad days? Sure. Do I have bad months? Sometimes. But overall, you want to make sure that the person that is talking to you trade real money. And that's the point that I want to make before I help you understand support and resistance for any market. And share with you next Tuesday, I'll be doing a live webinar at 4:15 p.m. on sharing with you over 20 years and millions of dollars traded every year, what I feel are the 2 best wealth strategies that I share with you when you overlay the support and resistance stuff that I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you unusual, very unique, if done properly, ways of doing support and resistance. So how would you like to learn support and resistance on a white chart? Okay, on a white chart. Just no indicator, No paying indicators for now. Just understand basic logic of supply and demand, cluster high, cluster low, and understand how to read your tape on your chart. I'm a very visual person. And so let's take the Apple case study and let's start. So the first thing that you need to understand when you trade support and resistance, you need to find cluster highs and cluster low. So come with me and let's do that together. If I put my cursor around here, can we all assume that this was a level of support between 2010, 2011 on Apple? Cool. If I bring my cursor up one more time here, can we assume that this becomes a resistance, becomes a support? What becomes a support becomes a resistance. So right now, just visually, whether you are a futures trader, an options trader, everyone, and or a forex trader as well, okay, you have to understand that there is Kevin just sent me a text telling me, okay, apparently people cannot get back in the room, everyone. We reach capacity, so just FYI, and people cannot get in the room. So if you get out, you will not be able to come back in. I just got the private from Kevin. Room capacity, as a matter of fact, there was a pop-up when Steve was presenting. So just FYI, okay? So now everybody can leave, but they cannot come back. So anyway, you want to look on your charts, where do you find those areas of supply and demand that are being shown here by the market participant? So now let's take a pen and I want to drive something home. Now, visually, you know that this was resistance here on November 2010, and it broke, started consolidating here, so high, 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 and then it went back, and what was resistance became support. So here, so far, so good. But what I want to teach you is why 85% of the traders lose at trading support and resistance. You know, why trading real money here? I have discovered over the years unusual ways and effective ways to recognize why traders are losing money. And the traders are not recognizing money. They are not losing money at recognizing those support and resistance cluster, because here what you have is this was resistance, now it becomes support, here becomes support. So you have a greater net buyer here, a greater net buyer here than a net seller here, net seller here, net seller here. They come back, they break the range, okay? So most of the people can pull a white chart, put a weekly chart, and you look at your monthly charts, your weekly charts, your daily charts, like Rob mentioned earlier, and you do a cross synergy between your time frame. But guess what? Most of the traders missed on the shift of momentum between a support and a resistance. So there's 3 trade setup that I love when I trade support and resistance that are very easy trade setup. And then I'm going to share that with you in an instant. And then what you want to know between the support and resistance is, okay, I have a support here and I have a resistance here. But what is the probability over 50-50% that we go from support to resistance, or are we going to resistance to support? And I guess this is where a lot of traders lose money. You know, they recognize the support, they recognize the resistance, but the key question is, what is the main trend? Okay, so question number 1, what is the main trend? You want to look at this on your monthlies, your weeklies, and your dailies. The 2, you want to know what is the immediate trend when you trade real money. Okay, what is the immediate trend coming in the morning? So your immediate trend can be recognized with a 60-minute chart and a daily chart. So I'll give you an example of what I call a flag. We could be on an uptrend on the main trend, higher highs, higher lows like Apple, but we could reach a point or a cluster where we reach an immediate downtrend where it's going to pull back, and when it's going to pull back to support. And a lot of the mistakes that traders have done for the past 5 years that we have a bull market is that traders, when the main trend is up, higher highs, here on Apple, higher highs, higher highs, higher low, what the traders are trying to touch and find each time is the top. By trying to find the top in the up main trend, you are going to get crucified. 90% of the traders lose money, everybody. So if done correctly, staying in the trend, everyone, if you properly stay in the trend, you do two things. Number one, you reduce your yearly trades and your turnaround with commissions and brokers. Number two, you increase your probability of success by being in the trend. Because let's say you are a little early, you go there, and you have no stop loss, okay? You have no stop loss, and the main trend is up, eventually you'll get it back. And there's a lot of wealth strategies that I do without stop loss. Because the problem, the stop loss are a sucker's game sometimes. They are just a sucker game where the high frequency trading system, especially for day trader, they have the order book. They have the bid and the ask. What I'm going to try to show you today, and hopefully it's going to help you to think differently about trading, is unique ways to think about support and resistance for any markets. And next week, I'll share some of the wealth strategies live on the Tuesday webinar. So what the high frequency trading system have, they have a clear level 2 access or reading of the order flow. So they see all the people that bid, and they see all the people that ask. They see the strong player, they see the weak player. And there is something also called the dark pool. Anybody know what the dark pool is? I bet you out of 800 people in this room, there is less than 10 people that know what the dark pool is. Anybody? Curious. Anybody know what the dark pool is? Usually that would be the most advanced traders that know what the dark pool is. As a matter of fact, there's a good book on the dark pool. And so what the dark pool is, everybody, is that even if you, retail trader, have access, and I'm showing you the mechanics, the real mechanics of the market. If you have access of a level 2 screen and you see the buy and the sell, or you look at the time and sell. I love time and sales because they are the actual print of what's going on. They are not games. And the dark pool is game, where you would see a strong Goldman Sachs bidding, okay? And then suddenly he flips over and it is really hiding here, dumping. Aha! So essentially what I've learned over the years is that with the dark pool and the high frequency trading system, the level 2 screen not only kills my eyes, but I am the type of trader that doesn't trade more than 4 hours per day. I start at 8 a.m., I'm done by 11, 12 top. So what I've learned over the years trading in the prop shops and in hedge fund is that this is BS. This is BS because with the dark pool and the way they play games, your best bet is to see the real stuff, the real candles, and to see what's happening right now with the time and sell. And the problem with looking at charts is a lot of traders look at charts, everyone, below a 60-minute chart. The only time that I use a 5-minute chart is to refine my exits, but all my entries are based on a crossover with our Pro Tools and our DTZ analysis of buy zone, sell zone, and action zones, because you want to find those the zones where you are going to do business and where you are going to do business with an over 50% chance of success. This is what I call the replicable and consistent franchise, like a McDonald's. You want replicable and consistent step every day. You don't want to come and say, okay, it's 9:30, the ring bell, and you are going to fly with your finger in your mouth and see where the wind is going to blow. You want to have strategies and consistent and replicable ways of looking at support and resistance. You want to have consistent and replicable way to look at the trade setup, the shift of momentums, and recognizing the trend and stay and trend in the trend. So now let me show you the 3 or 4 trade setup that I love, trading support and resistance. So the first, and we are going to look at charts. I have my trade navigator right there, and I'm going to show you how I automate everything in a simple way with our trade navigator here. But first and foremost, in order for you to maximize the understanding of your daily steps, you need to understand a couple of concepts. So again, if you look at the statistics and at the bell curve, or the way the repartitions of trade and success are being done, you have 2 choices. Either you are going to trade at the current price, and you'll have a 50% shot without looking carefully at your charts, your monthlies, your weeklies, your dailies, your trend, what I call the main trend, and the immediate trend, and the shift of momentum. So all aspects that you have to look at. And there's something called also the delta, or the probability in the money for you to make money if you look at stocks. every stock has a delta on the option chain for that week, and you can feel where it's going to go for the week. But feeling is not enough, because the delta on your probability of success or the 1 standard deviation, 2 standard deviation, and 3 standard deviation sometimes is all BS. It's all BS because it's all the perception of the market maker on the options floor for that day. But when you look at the chart at Apple at 500, and you looked at Apple at a big resistance at 528, you would have looked at the delta, and they would have given you a 71% chance to a 90% chance of staying below the 528 before it broke, and before I did $23,000 in 1 week, without looking at my screen, just coming back with my iPhone, and do 6.6 times your money. So what you need is a game plan of knowing the strong support and resistance, the probability that it's going to work, and for that you have to wait for your synergy on your weeklies, your monthlies, and your dailies, the main trend, the intermediate trend, and recognize your cluster high, cluster lows, and the proper shift of momentum, and do that. And you can overlay that with also the probability in the money from the options market. But I don't want to complicate that, because I want to give it for every market. Every market, those principles work. So now look at the trade setup for proper shift of momentum. So if you look at proper shift of momentum, everyone, pass to the next slide. They work as follows. Most traders know support and resistance, but I told you most traders do not trade within the main trend. They trade the main trend, the immediate trend, and they go opposite of both. If the main trend is short, they are going to look for longs on retracement. If the main trend, they are going to do the opposite of what they are supposed to do. And what's happening is a big mistake for support and resistance is people see that. They see support, they see resistance. So higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher low. You look at your time and sell, higher bids, velocity going up. Now, one of the problems is the trader goes out at resistance. That's perfect. But here is crucial mistake number one that most traders make, is they fail to recognize that the high frequency trading system and the market maker, they have the order flow book. And they are going to know, let's say if you look at a round number on the ES, they are going to realize that a lot of traders are going to put their stop loss on the round number at 1800 every month. What will happen is what they'll do is they are going to pass you through. So the mistake number one that most traders do is they are long, they go to resistance, they get out of their long, which is good, but they proceed to go short right away. And that's crucial mistake number one, everyone. Because the market maker and the order book, they are going to run you through. And they might reach 1810 on the ES, reach a neutral point, and then they'll do what I call a shift of momentum. They'll go reach a neutral point, at which time your time and sell doesn't move anymore. And then it starts making lower bid. And it's a cross and recross of the same 1800. Now, on the first touch, the first time when they run you over, you have a 62% chance of losing money. When they cross and recross back down, you have a 58% to a 62% chance now of making money. So those two numbers, 1800 and 1800, you see they are not creating equal. Because when you catch them on the cross above and the recross below, that's how you make money. My favorite one is the cross, recross, and the retest of your zone. It could be a little higher, could be lower, as long as you have a cross, recross that is lower than the 810, than the first high. So it's called a cross, recross, retest, lower high on my book. This is my favorite trade setup. You will see a trading and a support and resistance that you believe in, and they happen again and again and again. And if done correctly, these are the trades within the main trades that are going to make you a killer trader. Okay? Now, the last trade setup that I like also equally, maybe a little less because it's a more tedious one and more dangerous one to trade than the cross, recross, retest, lower high, before we go to real charts instead of BS PowerPoint. There's here the cluster. So let's say the main trend is short. So here's example one. Main trend short. And here's what happened. So there's a net buyer here. Comes here, there's a net seller. The worst mistake, and the mistake that most traders do, guys, is they use and anticipate the breakdown of that cluster. And they proceed to go short here. So there is a net buyer again. You get stop once. So stop once. What you have to do, and it comes back, and here you go, another short seller. Typically, write that down, everyone. on the third touch or the fourth touch of a channel, a little higher, a little below, could be a shoulder, head, shoulder, could be a double top. On the third touch, now you short within the main trade. And you put a short with the stop loss on the high candle of the first top or the second top, whatever top was the highest. And I enter 50% of my position right there. Now, when it crossed and recrossed the day trading zones, I had 50%. So essentially now I have my cross recross, like the example number 2, the setup number 2, the shift of momentum, cross recross number 2, but it has been proven 3-4 times. In statistics, if you enter the third time and it has been proven 2 times, it means you have a 66% chance of success of shorting the high of the cluster within the main short trend. Same if it was a long. If the main trend is long, you have a 66% chance of making money by buying the third touch on an uptrend main trend. Does that make sense, everybody? Because those concepts might seem simple, but that's why they are powerful, because they repeat themselves every day. Every day, whether you trade Forex, options, and futures. Although I have been around the block for 20 years, I've been trading Forex, I've been trading options. I continue trading Forex and options and futures, but this is not my favorite instrument. I think that every trader needs to understand all of them and use them in their toolbox, but wealth, real wealth, is not accomplished with anything but option. And I'll show you later on next week. And if you are interested, whether you are completely new at options, you are scared of options, options are simple if done correctly, everybody. So now, can everybody see the Trade Navigator board on the day trading zones? And I want to show you how you continue progressing the logic of what you do every day. So the continuation of the logic of what you have to look at every day is now you need to have automated sources to help you every day, instead of looking at 20 charts, your weekly, your monthly, your daily, your main trend, your short trend. You are competing against the high frequency trading system, everybody. So the faster you are going to understand everything, the better. So just curious today, what is it that you guys trade? Futures, stocks, options, or both futures and options? Just curious. Let me know. Okay, cool. Cool. So we have a lot of options traders, which is perfect. We have options and a little bit of futures, and we have also Forex guys. So those principles work again. So let's go to all. We have 9 markets where we do a day trading zone daily analysis for 9 market futures and markets that are highly traded for options, which is the most important one. The SPY is the most liquid ETF. Google, Apple, okay, the NQ. So the NQ, you could substitute trading the QQQ with your options. The 6E, you could do FXE. The crude, you could do USO, etc., etc. We have the bond, you could do TLT, TBT. So now, everyone, here's what happened. Let's take one chart at a time. I want to prove you on real chart, no BS screenshot on the PowerPoint, how those setup happens every day. Let's look at Google. So we're going to look at all of them. I'm not going to pick up one just to look good. So let me explain to you what those lines are. Those lines are being derived from our full Pro Tool, which I'll show you later on, where we derive very simple 7 lines to 9 lines, where this is a buy zone, extreme buy zone, that's an extreme caution zone on Google, and the caution zones are the orange, the dash to dash. Typically, we look for a cross, recross on the extreme buy zone, retest lower high for a short, or the same on the short for a long if the main trend is long, cross, recross, retest higher low for a long, or we look at those trades I showed you, the cluster high, cluster low, and the break, the retest of that break maybe, and boom. And look what happened on Google. Cross, recross the buy zone, retest the buy zone from Friday, retest lower high the buy zone, and boom. 83.58 on Google. Just to let you know, on the weekly options, you would have taken some put or call spreads, call credit spread here. You would have made a killing. So this is one chart, real chart. Another chart, we look at anyone, the SPY. Can everybody see the SPY? Quick yes, no. 182, 177.80, cluster high, cluster low. So look how we are mixing everything now. You are going to mix cluster high, cluster low, day trading zones. Cluster high, see, it's a cross, recross, it's a retest lower high. It's a retest of the upper side of the caution zone, room, all the way to the sell zone. And as you can see as well, not only it was a day trading zones, but you also have a cluster that starts defining itself around here. So now you mix the support and resistance that you love, because I'm sure a lot of you look at a lot of charts, the weekly, the monthly, the daily, you look at Fibonacci line, extensions, EMAs, volume profile, and blah, blah, blah. What I've done over the years is trading different time frames and look from my days in professional trading and trading real money every day and millions of dollars every year, an intellectual property of what are the best on the monthly, what are the best on the weekly, what are the best on the daily, and I want everything in one simple chart, 60-minute chart on my Trade Navigator, which I derive one screen that gives me all I need to recognize the shift of momentum quickly to pinpoint two markets that I want to trade per day. When I have those two markets that I want to trade per day, I recognize them. I'll show you next week how I recognize them with space between the day trading zones. Because if there's no space and this is tight, if there's, let's say you look at a day trading zones that is like this one, 77.92, 77.51. There's no money to be made. This is dangerous. So when I look for space. When I look for space, I look like for the top of the caution zone 81 to the bottom of the caution zone or the top of the sell zone 178. This is a perfect trade. This is the double, triple your money this week on the weekly puts on the SPY to substitute to your futures and your E-minis. So instead of using $10,000 a contract for an E-mini ES, safe and risk $100, 2 points, I would have taken $1,000 to $1,500, 10 contract SPY, buying 10 puts, you know, and you risk the same amount of money, same risk on both sides, but here you use $1,500, here you use $10,000, here you make 300 to 600% return on your money this week, here you barely make 10% return on your money. That's the big difference between the E-mini futures and the options market. For the people who have small accounts, it's the best. Just curious, everybody, nobody sees your answers. Which type of accounts do you have? Just me can see the results with the answers with Kevin. What type of account do you have, guys? $10,000, $15,000, $25,000, $50,000 account, 100? Which type of account do you have that you think that you can go and trade futures every day? Just curious. Wow, interesting. Very interesting. We have about a third of the room that has over $30,000, which is above the PDT, the $25,000. And we have 66% of the room, guys, that have smaller account than $25,000. So I repeat, from what I see, glance of an eye, from people's answers. Okay? So it's very profound because if you have a smaller account and you trade futures to avoid PDT, you are not necessarily doing the right thing by avoiding options. And I will show you Tuesday at 4:15 how you can trade options with an account that is less than $25,000. If done properly, you can get in and out all day long, up to your cash amount, without doing a margin account and without being submitted to the PDT rule, the pattern day trading rule. So these are important. Let's look at another chart, everybody. And you guys are going to be engaged now, and you're going to tell me. Let's put at ES. Which trade setup is it? Trade setup number 1, support to resistance. Trade setup number 2, cross, recross, retest, lower high. Or is this a cluster high, cluster low break? What is that trade setup? Watch carefully. Look, if I zoom the week, I'm going to make it easier for everyone. You look at the week, look at the day trading zones. Tell me what trading setup is it? Is that a cross, recross, retest, lower high? Is this a cluster high, cluster low? Exactly. That's a cross, recross, retest that fell, and within that, you also have the cluster high, cluster low right there. See, the cluster low became resistance on the lower high. That's one of my favorite trade setup, everybody. You have the cluster high, you have the cluster low. No matter what market you trade, those are powerful. Cross, recross, and you retest, and your cluster low now becomes your cluster high, or your lower high point. And then they go down again on the day trading zones, reject again. So come on, you missed that one, fine. But you cannot and should not miss number 2 and number 3's opportunity that are presenting themselves to you. Let's take another example. And let's look at the euro. Same idea on the euro. See? So you have a series. What's the main trend for the past few months? Higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. So you look for pattern of retracement where you can get back in. Cross, recross, retest on the sell zones here. Perfect entry. Okay? As a matter of fact, when they dumped from the 138 something after the rate announcement of the ECB, I called this 33 entry to everybody on action videos and on the members area. Okay? So another trade, and you see these patterns repeat themselves always. And now I'm going to bring it back to the Apple trade that I did with the full Pro Tour. So now let's look at Apple and how did I nail Apple at Thanksgiving, living away with my kids for a week at Atlantis in the Bahamas. And look what happened. Look at cluster high. So can we all say from 2011 on that we had a little cluster high coming up here? Yes or no? Look at my pen on Apple. That was the middle part of the double top for the past 3 years. There was a little problem here on the cluster high and cluster low that has checked in the investors before the real break. So what you have to recognize is what tools or what edge do you have that would have told you here around the 400 that you had a cross recross, a retest higher low with a direction that was going up with retracement here that you should have bought, retracement here that you should have bought, and retracement that you should have bought. Because it's a little ghosty to go in vacation and put a trade like this for about $9,000. My best trade was only $3,000. Look at this one. There was a nightly video distributed to over 20,000 traders. And on this one, and maybe Kevin knows where that video is and he can give it to you before I leave. And this was on the November 29. I did that trade on 11/22 when Apple was at 518. FYI, came back from vacation 554 with a high at 557. The 7 contract I bought for 485. They were $30 to $32. And this contract was 2 contracts of the 500 call deep in the money. That shows my confidence in the trend. So there was $10,000 invested in that trade right there. Not in that trade, not invested, actually, it was 2,800. So it was a 56K, 5,600 invested, and this one was a 3,400 invested. This time one did 6.6 times my money in 7 days. 7 days without looking at the trade, everybody. Here's the Thinkorswim account when I came back that night. Right there. And you see all my exits and my entries there because you can see the 525. I had one runner left at 480 that Friday with $8,800 open in P&L. And I had one open contract at 480 that you see right there. I had 7 of them, which you just saw on my iPhone before I started dumping them. 30 first exit, 31 second exit, 32 the third exit. From a 480 entry, everybody. This was an incredible trade. You see, this was an incredible trade. I can try to zoom it a little bit for you, Earl. Can you guys see it better like this? Quick yes, no. I want you to make sure you see the strike price and the entry. Is that better, everybody? Yep. Mr. Earl. Earl is the one that gives trouble to Steve and to me. We got to love traders like Earl. I'm joking, Earl. So here you see, and I thank you, by the way. I didn't see that you couldn't tell because I can see it clearly. So here was the first contract, 480. You know that I entered at 480. That's the current price at 32, and that's the price I started dumping the 7 contract. 30 bucks, 31 bucks, 32 bucks. 6 times your money, everybody. Okay? So this is the type of trade that when you overlay support and resistance and you overlay proper recognition of trend and pull back, everybody, that's how you do it. So how do I do this? How do I get the day trading zones by zones and sell zones? Well, I use another tool that is a little more complicated called the Day Trading Zones Full Pro tool, as you can see, everybody, and I use them for weekly trade, daily trades, and I use them for position trading. So here is the perfect, and here how the tools work. They have 3 components. They have a trend tool, so they give you basically everything that I went over automatically. They give you a trend tool. They give you an immediate trend tool, which is up arrow, down arrow. They give you the dots for a 60% continuation of the trend. So here we had the down arrow at 150. This thing went all the way to 90. And then we had an up arrow around 100 with a 60% chance continuation of the trend. By the way, what I'm showing you right now is a real eSignal platform. Can everybody see that? Yes or no? This is not a screenshot to look good. The only reason you had the screenshot of the Apple case study trade is because it's not in my real account right now. Okay? It's not in the account anymore, obviously. It's not November the 29th anymore. But the case study is solid because here is what happened. Since 2009, the Day Trading Zones Full Probability tool shows you an up arrow, a blue dot, week after week after week after week. So what is the main trend, everybody? Main trend was what here? I want you to understand the logic because it helps you for your own trading with your own tools and the own stuff that you use. It's the logic, it's the processes. So the main trend was what? Up. Okay? The main trend was up, and then each time you see a little down arrow here, there's no pink dot. The blue dot, look what happened in 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 3.5 years from Apple from 100 to 700. Can everybody see those weekly dots? And tell me, do you see in the past 4 years before Apple printed a down arrow with a pink dot? Did you see one pink dot in 4 years? Do you see one pink dot in 4 years? So that is very powerful because what it tells me is instead of being a degenerated gambler that tried to short here, find out the top here, I better wait for the cluster retracement on my tools here, and buy. And I have been calling buying Apple since this up arrow. So let's look recent now. Let's look at the recent shift of momentum. So during the crisis, our Apple going down, we had down arrow. Yeah, recross the day trading zones. Here is your retest number 3. So see how the pattern works also for the weeklies and your position trading. Whether you trade Forex futures, stocks, nobody cares. What is important really is the process, the logic. So the recross is here, the retest is here. You have the down arrow and the pink dot. Look where it went. It went from 650 to 380. Then look what happened. We had a recross, a retest higher low, up arrow day trading zones, cross the most important day trading zones, which are the dashes, the retest higher low, and boom, 452, zoom, 577. And what happened also is we have 27 zones on the Full Pro tool. So you see those dashes that are big, small, they give you the highest probability of retracement for re-entry. So at 500, 490, 514, 528, you have no excuse having the tool not getting on Apple. Does that make sense, everybody? So when you add that, you have the confidence. Does that make sense, everybody? It's all about confidence and belief. You have the confidence and the belief to enter the trades. Does that make sense, everybody? Quick yes, no, because this is profound. Traders lose because they don't understand the shift of momentum. They trade too big for their account. They don't trade the right strategies, and they don't have confidence in the main trend, the short trend, the retracement area with probability of success. And that is the way you overlay consistent processes step by step. And I'll go over that next week on Tuesday. Or now, not only you do that, but on top of that, now you overlay wealth strategies. So someone is asking me, can we see the crude quickly? Absolutely. Look at the full Pro Tool. We look at the day trading zones trade navigator for Friday. And let's put the crude right there. Is that a beautiful, beautiful chart? Look at this. Cross, recross, retest lower high, the buy zone, retest the buy zone, vroom, to the bottom of the caution zone on that cluster high, cluster low right there. And then, vroom, retest one more time. And I call that trade, by the way. And retest one more time the upper caution zone of the crude, vroom. Those works again and again and again. And you can take any chart and it works. Like here, those are valid for 9 instruments, but this day trading zones full Pro Tool are available for all Pro Tool. Would you like to see how the ES behave on the 60-minute chart for the past 3 days? Yes or no? Stephen is a student of mine. That was funny. He said, did you pay your membership this month? That was funny. That was funny. That was so funny. So that was real good. I love it. Love it, Steve. Look at my comment. Love it. So here you can look at the ES if you would like to see. A lot of people trade mainly the ES and the SPY. And I want to show you 60 minutes of the day trading zones on the ES for the past few days. And look at this. Look at the beauty. Is that a beauty? Those are the full Pro Tool. Look. Touch again the day trading zones. Completely rejected. Look at this. And that's not a snapshot. I just loaded the chart. Cross, recross, retest. Down arrow. Vroom. That is $1,500 per contract. But I'm going to show you something even more powerful. This is $1,500 per contract. Now look at the SPY, which is one of the wealth option strategies I'll teach you next week. So now let's zoom the SPY. So now you have your cross, recross, your retest on the main day trading zones that fell from 181 something, 181, 180. Lower high fell again. Pink dots still start showing. Vroom. So at the very least, 180, 90, all the way to 178. Okay? So look at this now. If you do Sally credit spreads, and anyone in the room doing credit spreads, debit spreads, buy calls, sell calls, do Forex or whatever, those concepts are extremely powerful. You know, they are simple, but they are powerful. And they are powerful because they, simply put, we trade them every day with real money. So here, look at this, from 180, 90 to 178. Now look at the put. Look at the puts now. Let's look at the real option chain. And I want to compare that before I go for today. And I will teach 2 more wealth strategies that I use on a consistent basis at 4 o'clock on Tuesday. Along, you can get a free 40-page ebook on trading probabilities and our training video series that are real money trading series videos, for example. Every educational stuff that I've done in my life, I strive to do it with real money. And the reason is because traders that don't trade real money or educators that don't trade real money and show you concept is not enough. You know, theory is nothing. Seeing is believing, but I have a better one for everybody. Seeing is believing, and profiting from what is being said is even better. Would you agree, everybody? You know, because how would you like to learn the strategies here that allows me to trade no more than 25 minutes to 3 hours per day without us staring at the screen every day, every day, 25 minutes to 3 hours of work. If I decide to not day trade, all I do is I look for option premium to create weekly and monthly income, and I use 25 minutes of browsing. So you can see in my full Pro Tool, everyone, I don't have a lot of symbols. I am very, very laser focused on what I want to trade. Very laser focused. Instead of being the jackass of many trades, I would rather being the master of few. And this is really the concept that I think will help you guys to think differently in your trading. So if you go back to the option trade here on the SPY, see, this is an option trade. And if you look at the option trades from last week and you look at the day trading zones where we were looking at about 8. So hold on one second. I want to just verify something here before I do. Okay, hold on. I want to see on the other stream. Make sure that, okay. I want to make sure. So if you look at the puts here, that expires next week, and you knew you could see here the shift of momentum on the simplified Pro Tool, the simplified version is the DTZ analysis. The cross-recross are around 81.30. Can everybody agree before I go that this 81.30 cross-recross retest of the upper caution zone was one of the trade setup we just talked about? Quick yes, no, everyone. Quick yes, no. So now what you had to do is you knew that you had a higher probability that the market was going to go down, everyone. You had a higher probability that the market was going to go down. So since it's all about you and your trading, if we recognize this setup is important, because I trade this setup for 20 years. So cross-recross retest fell 181.30. So let's say you've seen and you open about 9 strikes, 12 strikes, and you look 14 strikes, and you say around the 81, I would have taken that put. You would have taken that put where on the day trading zones? It shows you to take that put around here at 11 a.m. on the 14th. 14th, 10 a.m., 9 a.m. on the 14th. So let's look at the options pricing and what they've done that day, and let's graph it. Let's take the 181 put, right-click, toss chart. Let's look at the chart. And let's look at 3-4 days of chart on that premium. And you tell me if it's not a beauty compared to the ES. So we do 4 days, 5-minute chart. Look where the premium was, everybody. Let's say you got that premium high, cluster low. You would have got, let's say you're super late to the party on the 14th. Okay? So let's say you're super late. Okay? You would have taken that trade around 220. Can we all agree, yes or no? You would have bought that call around 220 as a substitute to a short on the SPY. Yep, 220. So now look at this. 220, it went to 440, this option. And those are stuff that we try to do every day, every week. So this thing is a double. It's a double in your money in about 2 days, 2.5 days. Okay? From the cluster, not even the bottom, to the top. So that's a 100% return on your money. Now, compare that with what the ES has done on the Trade Navigator. So here you would have risk. On this option, you would have bought 1,000 shares, 10 contracts for $2,000. Do we all agree? And you would have made $200 and your risk would have been 20 cents stop loss, so $200 stop loss. Now let's compare that to the ES. The ES, you need $10,000 per contract. You had a stop loss of 2 points. So two contract on the ES, you have to know this equivalent, equal 10 SPY contract on the left side. So $100 times 2 stop loss on your ES would have been $200. So same risk. But look here, 5 times less capital requirement. So for the small account, that's the best use of your money. That's number one. But here's the most important part. The return on investment on that trade was 100% here, and the return on this investment on the top to the bottom of the ES I showed you was 30 points from the 1800, 1805 to the 70, $1,500. $1,500 in profit requirements divided by your $20,000 capital requirement, which is 2 contracts, is only only, everybody, only 7.5% return on my money. Does that make sense? You compare 100% in the option to 7.5% on the futures. Is that profound, everybody? Quick yes, no. Is that helping you to think differently beginning today? Coming on Monday with those shift of momentum, cluster high, cluster low? Wow, I have a small account and I trade like a degenerated gambler futures every day. Is there a better way to do things in life and in trading? After going, this is the street here. This is the street and it's me, 20 years. Going around that street, and coming with unique and unusual real money ways to simplify my life as a trader and to trade strategies that have higher probability of success. No strategy has a 100% chance of success, but you have a lot of strategies that have 68% chance to 95% chance of success. Does that make sense? Wallace says, oh, but you were long. This week, Apple was short. Let's look at the tool for this week, Wallace. Does everybody want to see the 60-minute chart on the Apple for this week on the full Pro tool? Yes or no? And see how they behave. Real chart. Do you want to see that? With all the suckers that were chasing Apple between 560 and 580, where me, I'm waiting for a retracement. Look here. Can we all agree that it's a cross, recross? Yes or no? Of the day trading zones. Yep. Of the main resistance. Yep. That's it. Can we all agree that this is a cluster high and this is a cluster low? Yes or no? So it's basically a cross, recross, retest of the cluster. Fail, hold the day trading zones once. Fail, try again, lower high, boom. Is it cool, everybody? It's pretty cool, no? And it repeats again and again with real charts, real money. You know, if done properly and correctly with the right size, the right risk management, those are super cool stuff that you can do over and over. Someone says, I sell premium. Do you sell any premium? I'll take, I think Kevin is going to kick me out in 3 minutes. But since the day trading, the real traders community has reached full capacity here, I'm sure I can take 2 or 3 questions because nobody can get back anyway. But I need to be respectful for the following contributor. I believe you are going to have an awesome stuff with Barry, but I don't even know if Barry was able to get in the room. Because if you cannot get in the room before the capacity, nobody can get in the room. So I don't know how Kevin wants to manage that with us. So anyway, I have a slide here, and I'll explain a little bit next week. We have only 2 minutes. But I am a big believer in selling options. As a matter of fact, I mix it up, and I'll show you my favorite 2 wealth strategies next week. But let me do it very quickly. If we take a $10 premium on Google, which is very volatile, Google, okay? Can we all assume, if we look at the day trading zones, and again, it's all about you guys knowing where to do business to make money. Do you like this Apple trade, this Google shift of momentum this week for the past 3 days on the day trading zones analysis that has been given to you Thursday and Friday? Would have this help you to make a lot of money? Short, cross, recross the buy zone, retest the buy zone, retest the 83, room to 58. Do you think it would have been helpful? If you are very genuinely and honestly looking at that chart, which is a real ninja trader's chart, not a BS PowerPoint. Yeah? Of course it would. It would have helped you for credit spread. It would have helped you for directional put and calls, but put and calls are for suckers here. Because the best thing you could have done is sell calls here or credit spread, call credit spread here, and other strategies that I share with you on Tuesday. Because every day that passes, that time decay on those $10, let's say it was a $10 option, it goes down, down, down to 0 if it was a $10 option. So here's what I want you to understand, everyone, is that options are very powerful, but you need to understand where the professionals make their money. They make their money by being sellers of options. Let me see, I have the ebook here. I'm trying to find for you here. So let me explain the concept before I leave, and you'll be a little more prepared for the live event on Tuesday. If you have a Google, let's say, call, 2 days, 3 days ago, that was valued at 18 bucks, which is very reasonable. And let's say you look at the day trading zones, tell you to sell at 585, the 1085, so area, cross retest lower on 585. Let's say you got to understand that this option has 3 components. If you don't understand options or have never done options, there is something called the real value of the option below the 1085 put. There is something called volatility, and there's something called time value. If the time value of that 18 bucks was 10 bucks, the real value, let's say, was 5 bucks, and the volatility was 3 bucks, assuming the volatility remains equal, if I bought that put on Wednesday, can someone tells me on Friday where that time value of $10 would have gone to what? Would have gone to exactly to nothing. By Friday, this option is worth 0, which means that essentially you bought an asset 18 bucks, everybody, that is truly worth $8. This is how the market maker gets you. Who is the person that makes the money here? The person selling you the option at $18, knowing that option is at the worst case, at the worst case for him worth 8 bucks on Friday when that $10 crashed to 0? Or is it you, the buyer of the option at $18 that lose the $10 on the time value by Friday? Who is the winner? The buyer or the seller of the option? And that will be the thought that I will be probably leave you with, is that sellers, professional, hedge funds, hedgers, pension plans, they all do some types of a weekly, monthly income selling options. And what I do with the day trading zones is I do overlays of support and resistance, trend direction retracement that are solid to help you have higher probability of success for any market but those 9 markets. And I personally overlay that when I trade with my traders in the mastery program. I overlay that with what I call wealth strategies, which I'll teach you next Tuesday at 4:15 on a free webinar. Also, just that you know, guys, this is a webinar that I do before the Christmas holidays, and usually we do one of those once a month. So looking forward to seeing you. You can get also a free PDF that Kevin is going to give you the link for on our website with some training videos. Kevin will post the link for you, and hopefully that was helpful. You know, those are stuff we do every day. We do it with real money. I have some friends, like Kevin McLean is a hedge fund trader, friend of mine. David Morales from Horizon Wealth Point Management, which is also a contributor on the Real Traders webinar, has been one of my traders. And even he has been a trader for 20 years, 30 years, learned a lot from us and increased his assets from 20 millions to 80 millions. I think there's a lot of stuff you can learn that can help you, especially on some of the free content that we have. You take care, everybody. I wish you the best in your trading journey. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. I'll see you Tuesday, and hopefully you learned some cool stuff today.
Okay, thank you so much, Mark. As always, Mark absolutely crushes it when he comes on. We can't thank him enough for joining us today and sharing everything. And again, guys, if you want to check out Mark's free PDF and video training series, and you want to register for his Tuesday event, just head over to realtraderswebinar.com/DTZ free. That's DTZ free.